Hello and welcome to Culture Cubby, the podcast that is not afraid to say that bad movie you like is better than you.
Yeah,
I'm your host, Julian Sosa, along with.
Jared Slattery.
And today we are here to discuss the movie Ernest Scared Stupid. I have to start off by saying I kept calling this movie Ernest Scared Straight.
Well, that's because you're wrong. You're wrong, wrong, wrong.
Yeah, Ernest Scared Straight is just like a problematic if he had kept going into the 2000s. Um,
No, I just like to imagine that he's in prison and he's getting scared straight by the prisoners there.
well, there is an Ernest Goes to Jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That one should be called Ernest Scared Straight.
Yeah, so with that, I actually realized I haven't seen most of the Ernest films.
Oh, neither have I. This
Oh.
is the one I saw most when I was a kid. I think I might have saw Ernest Saves Christmas, but I kind of did a deep dive on some of the elements of the movies as after watching.
And I didn't realize it because I actually thought I had seen them, and then realized the only one I've actually seen is Ernest A Christmas Story, or Ernest Saves Christmas. And that one's going to be definitely like Ernest for me.
Well, this one was a classic in my household. I watched it year round. I only remembered bits of it after watching it again. I forgot most of it. It was lost to my mind like a bad daydream on drugs.
Yeah, this was for me watching it for the first time as an adult was not great. It's just kind of the worst episode of Stranger Things.
Dang. I feel very different. I watched it and I was like, this is better than most kids horror comedies. Because it's not made for adults. Stranger Things is made for adults, and this is definitely made for kids. It's not a good movie, but it was way better than I remember it. I just completely thought it was utter trash. But there's a lot of redeeming factors in this for me that make it a movie that I'm probably going to watch more of. I'm going to watch repeatedly.
This is going to be one that I don't defend as much.
Oh, I'm on full defense.
Okay.
There are things that I do not like about this film, but there's a lot of things I love about this film.
Yeah, perfect. So let's get into it.
Yeah. So you said it feels like a bad episode of Stranger Things. I think it feels more like it's a movie that's set in the same universe as Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yes, so he is a character that, and I was going to talk about this a little later, but he is a character that I actually like, and there's a lot of good stuff coming from the character in this movie, but I feel like was put maybe in the wrong situation, and that's probably the case for most of his movies.
Like I think as it went on, you're probably going to be more accurate on that because this is the fifth film in the series.
Right, so this is, from what I understand, the film that kind of ended it. Like, well, as far as a theatrical movie.
Yeah,
Because from what I understand, I think that Disney kind of gave up on it, and then they went to doing, like, straight to DVD
Yeah.
or straight to VHS.
I wish that I had watched the other ones before this because I'm really interested because Jim Varney is a well-respected comedian. He was Slinky Dog or Slink Dog in Toy Story, and the actor that took over for him was very reverent of him. They were good friends, and everybody has good things to say. There's a video of him and Robin Williams hanging out, and they're on the same page, like exactly the same page. They're playing exactly like each other. In fact, I'd say that they are very similar overall.
Oh, yeah, and I could see why somebody saw what he was doing and decided, like, this needs to be more. Because this did start, the Ernest character started from commercials.
Which I love. I love watching those. Not all of them. Some of them are terrible, but a lot of them are pretty good.
Why don't we start by explaining what the plot is, if you can.
Yeah, I think I'm going to recommend this movie, and if we still worked at Blockbuster, I would recommend this as the actual Troll 2.
I thought a lot about Troll 2 while watching this.
Yeah, heavily. There's a lot of very similar things. I think Ernest did it better than the actual Troll 2.
Well, sure, from a technical standpoint, of course.
I mean, the kids weren't good actors for sure, and the sheriff, terrible. But he's an author by trade. He got in acting after he was already an author. But yes, so Ernest. It starts off in the past. I can't remember what year, but it starts off in the past, and Ernest's great grandfather or something. He and the townsfolk in that area captured a troll and buried it. And the troll said, "Your line," to the pastor that's played by Jim Varney. It says, "Your family is going to release me." And it was very ominous. And there were slaves there. Almost certainly there were slaves, right?
So I guess it kind of reminded me of the opening to Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
As far as like setting up the movie, did start with a fun opening credit scene that showed a lot of like classic horror films.
That beat was very good.
Yeah,
I really like that. I'm like, let's just make a rap about it. Let's just make a movie themed '90s style rap about it.
but it's a classic curse movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he just has this, which honestly doesn't really lead to anything in the film.
No.
As far as like a curse. I guess just to say that he's a moron.
Yeah.
Because the curse is that his family had captured the troll, and he, like, every generation was going to become dumber and dumber.
And it did. So you can't say that he was scared stupid. He was born stupid, and then he was scared.
In the beginning of this, there's a scene with the sheriff talking to the mayor, and the mayor was telling the sheriff that he needed to get Ernest over to that old house to, like, clear it out, because Ernest is like a garbage man in this town. And I was like, why is that the sheriff's job?
Well, he was elected for a reason.
The sheriff doesn't, like, typically dole out careers or jobs to people.
I mean, the mayor, I guess he's like, I'm your boss, but he's really not, because the sheriff is voted in. We don't need to get into the politics of this small fake town.
And was that the lady that lives in the house? Is that the lady from Holes?
That's Eartha Kitt.
Oh.
That's Catwoman.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing, the same person. I have a few notes on Eartha Kitt was doing it in this movie. She was killing it.
She was fun. She kind of reminded me of the character from Labyrinth, the trash lady from Labyrinth.
She brought it. The best performance in this film, in my opinion, was her. She fully committed. She just got unblacklisted from Hollywood, and she's in this film, which is kind of hilarious. But she didn't play it like the script would suggest. So she played it sincerely.
Yeah, I can tell she was definitely, like, wanting to give a performance.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
really maybe two actors, including Ernest, that I felt like were actually doing that.
Mm-hmm.
There were some solid. So what really makes me think that Ernest is a good character that's just not put in the right situation is there's a lot of jokes in here that I thought were, like, really funny.
Oh yeah.
Like, even though I overall didn't really like the film, there's quite a few jokes. So the first one for me, well, it was really when he's in the truck talking to the doll, and he's about to get crushed,
Mm-hmm.
and the doll's,
That's
like,
very
begging
funny.
for its life.
I love that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Like, he committed to that bit completely as he's about to be crushed, and I think that's hilarious. And one of my notes is that he is bits above all else.
Yeah.
Always bits. And I'm like, that's what I want. Thank you. It's
And
very good.
that's what it, like, for me, it was, we would get these small bits that I thought were good. I guess you could say, like, if you were to eliminate the children from this.
I mean, that was kind of what the trolls were trying to do.
Yeah, so I'm on the troll side, if I'm being honest. I did have I had this thought of, man, it would be I'd give this movie a lot of credit if they just didn't revive the kids. Like,
Yeah.
they just didn't stay alive.
I mean, yeah. So Ernest revives the troll by being flippant about the curse, and he's like, "Now, what would happen if I just said, 'I release thee, troll'?"
No.
Or
What
did he
happened
say?
was, I mean, I don't remember the exact line, but what happened was she, Eartha Kitt's
Oh,
character,
that's right.
had apparently given him the full blueprint. First, she was freaked out that they had built a tree house on the tree where the troll was
Hmm.
kept. And then she proceeds to give Ernest a blueprint for actually reviving the troll.
I mean, and she has reasons to do so.
Right, I guess at the end, it did seem like maybe that was a necessary thing to do.
Yeah.
But she acted like
Yeah.
she didn't want it to happen.
I think that I don't know. That's a scripting issue. So like I don't.
Yeah.
I think that it would have been more interesting if they leaned into that a little bit more. If they were like, "Good, you built this treehouse, cool. I'm gonna need you to say these things. Make her feel like a villain, like really make her feel like a villain, and have her mislead Ernest. That would be fun if they leaned into that a little bit better. But
Well, I did find that funny too, that she just gave the blueprint.
Yeah.
Oh, and if I put my hands on the tree like this and I say exactly these words, because it would have never happened otherwise, it kind of made me think of, we just watched Ginger Dead Man, and that's kind of the same, like, this needed to happen. This very particular thing needed to happen in order for the movie to get going,
yeah,
with the blood falling into the gingerbread.
but the baker didn't know. She didn't know
Yeah.
what the plan was.
This was executed much better.
Yeah.
Because that in itself is a joke that she would even tell him.
Yeah.
Well, if I do this.
And like I love how flippant he is. He's so dumb, and he's like, "I got it, no problem." And he's not actually dumb, but like in the movie, like the character that he plays as Ernest is dumb. But there's a lot of quick changes and very different characters who are all intelligent.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think like the whole dumb is kind of interchanged with annoying.
mhm.
So he's more annoying to the people than he is dumb.
Back to the plot because I want to talk about that, but I want to talk about it after this. So the troll is awakened. It starts going after kids and turning them into wood. The troll needs 5 kids to turn into wood so that he can awaken his children from the tree. Which I guess the tree. I don't know the history or the like. This is based off of folklore. These trolls are folklore trolls, roughly. But I don't know if they come from trees in the folklore. If that was just a thing where like, hey, look at this. This is really gross.
Yeah, I didn't look into the folklore that I
Only pop culture, no folklore. Fuck history.
I'm not sure that they went that deep, so
Yeah.
why would I?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just like, really? So they come from that tree where he was imprisoned, even though they planted that tree to trap him. It doesn't make sense. But this is Ernest Scared Stupid, so it's fine.
Yeah. Around this time, there was another funny joke for me, or when they're doing the tree house, and they're looking for a tree to do the tree house, and the joke is, no poison ivy, maybe Dutch elm blight, but none of us are Dutch. I thought that was really funny.
Those jokes are a staple of that director. I was watching a bit of another film last night. It's Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloom, which is pretty funny. One of the characters says, "I don't have an ounce of fat in my body. I use the metric system." And that's exactly that style. It's very funny. I died. I wrote it down and I thought about it really hard, and that's how I have it memorized. It's very good. But that's the kind of humor that shines when this movie's at its best.
Yeah, and I have quite a few more of those, but I kind of have a thing with those, so I'll get to them when we get to
it. Yeah. So the troll starts stealing kids. The main kid, and they're all hanging out with Ernest, a weird guy that the parents don't really approve on, but they're kind of like, please don't hang out with Ernest. Like, they have no choice in what they do. I love that 90s parent style, because it's just like, come on.
Yeah, that I don't know why this triggered this for me, but I think that where Ernest actually belongs is in the Adventures of Pete and Pete.
That feels so accurate. That feels right. That feels real good.
Yeah.
Dang. Uh, the main kid is fighting on Ernest's side. His dad is the sheriff, and Ernest is the only adult that knows about the trolls, and no other people believe him because he's a lot, and they think he's full of shit all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of the trope of adults don't believe children, and by extension, Ernest.
Oh yeah,
And of course, they're wrong to do so.
yeah. This film is anti-parent, 100% anti-parent.
Yeah.
It's pro kid, pro Ernest, pro weird guy who hangs out with children, anti-parent.
There was a really weird interaction at the end that was just like really sweet, but just out of place with this lady, and she's arguing with her daughter in her costume.
Oh yeah,
because her
it
daughter
was wild.
Yeah, it was like I was like genuinely touched by it. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, this is.
Well, I mean,
This doesn't belong here.
it did have a plot point,
It did have a plot because it, yeah.
but it wasn't smartly laid out, I think, for that message.
It was just so like tearfully like.
It was so mean at first.
Yeah, I don't like you. Well, I don't like you
No.
either.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh my
sorry.
god. I hate you. I'm not a big fan either, is I believe
Yeah.
the exact line.
I'm sorry. I love you.
Yeah.
Another one, they were when they're building the treehouse, he licks the hammer before hitting it, and I just thought to myself, I wonder how many times he licked that hammer just in filming that scene.
I think he's an actor who commits. I think he's really like in it to be in it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So he probably licked that thing like crazy. That's his now. That's not the production's. That's his hammer. Oh, the bullies. I want to talk about 90s bullies real quick.
Yeah.
90s bullies are always chubby. They're always chubby. If I was in a horror film in the 90s as a kid, I would be a villain. I was probably not much shorter than I am now. So, like, I definitely would have been cast as a bully.
Bullies around this time, they basically say they don't need any kind of motivation to do anything they do.
Which is pretty realistic.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Especially back then. I don't know what kids are like now. I don't think that they bully the way they do. I think they do it all online.
Yeah, when they... Because the reason that they're building the treehouse because the bullies, attack their other base or little fort that they built, and when they're building the base that has all like the fun kind of like Pee-wee-ish items to it, it just made me think like I used to watch this stuff all the time as a kid and think, man, I don't know how to do anything.
Oh. I can do all of that. Another thing that reminded me of Pee-wee's was the shopping scene. And I liked the shop guys, the guys who ran that store. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
They're always in the films. This is various characters.
Yeah, they come off. I believe this director, one of the only other things he did outside of Ernest stuff, was kind of an Abbott and Costello remake, which he was trying to reintroduce these characters just with different actors, which sounds like probably didn't work, but that's one thing I thought, because I kept trying to think, man, what's a better thing to put Ernest in? So one thing for me was that maybe something more Abbott and Costello-like. The other thing I kind of thought of was more National Lampoon's vacation movies. Particularly, basically it would be Christmas Vacation from the perspective of Randy Quaid's character.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is an Ernest Goes to Africa that I've not watched because I'm scared to.
That's, yeah,
Like, I feel like I might be canceled just by...
we'll leave that off the podcast.
Yeah. Like, no thanks.
Somebody else can.
Appreciate it.
Someone else can.
Yeah, someone with the proper nuance and form can do that. This is not that. We say dumb jokes about movies.
Yeah, but with that building of the treehouse it did think that Ernest was kind of more dangerous to these
Oh
kids
yeah.
than maybe the troll was going to be.
I
Because
mean,
there's a few instances. One, he's uh, building weapons with them
hmm
during that time.
I mean, that feels like the '90s that I experienced.
Also, the big one for me that was kind of brushed off really easily is that he had in his uh, compactor part of the truck, of the garbage truck, he had the two children bullies in there, and right before letting them out to reveal that they weren't the troll, he was like, "Oh, should I just crush it?"
Yeah, I know. I love that.
He's like 2 seconds away from murdering two children.
I mean, maybe they shouldn't bully.
He also should have been arrested right then and there.
Oh yeah,
Because at this point, they
absolutely.
still didn't believe him about the troll. So it's like, okay, you had two small children,
Yeah, he just
and
got.
just asked me if you should kill them.
He only got fired. That's it. And I don't understand why the mayor's completely in charge of that at all.
Right? Yeah, the mayor is in charge of every. You work at the candy store. I like candy.
Your dreams are crushed because I want you to work at the corner store. Goop all over the place.
Yeah.
Damn, that's not the guys who did the costumes for the trolls did Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Yeah.
and it shows.
Well, so these costumes were the troll. Some of the troll costumes were repurposed, so they're from Killer Clowns. From
Oh,
Outer
were
Space.
they?
Yeah.
Dang, I couldn't remember when that movie was because I've not seen it. I've just seen the cover art at Blockbuster. I'm like, I'm not that interested.
Yeah, so I think there's 3 in total that were
Oh
just
yeah, I think
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
it makes
costumes.
sense. Some of them make sense. Thinking about it, that's interesting.
Yeah, that movie is from '88.
Yeah, yeah. Eartha Kitt. At one point, uh, Ernest came up to her door and said, "I hate to bother you," and then she said, You've bothered the whole planet." And it's so funny. Like, and then immediately I thought, like, her attitude just kind of screamed, "I'm fed up with this world,"
Yeah,
which is pretty fun. That's a hat or a shirt.
man, that feels real though.
I love that so much. It's such a stupid pun, but I'm like, yeah, I'm fed up with this world. With Tommy Wiseau, but talk about Ernest.
Yeah, that made me. I saw this while looking into this. I saw this quote from Jim Varney's. That was somebody asked him in an interview, "Does it get tiring, like people knowing you for one character?" And he's like, I go to this place, it's Hey Vern, and I go to this place, and it's Hey Vern, and I go to the store, and it's Hey Vern. But when I go to the bank, they say, "Hello, Mr. Varney's."
I mean, fair enough.
Well, it's, to me, like, I don't mind the money that it gets
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
so go ahead and call me.
Shit, neither would I. Like, if I had a steady job acting where I don't have to go crazy, I just have fun with it. I
Yeah.
don't care if the movies are great or whatever they end up being.
Yeah,
If I could be that character, I would love it. That's a great time.
yeah. No, I'm in total agreement with that.
Yeah, it's amazing. So the troll ends up getting 5 children, turns them into wood. And by the way, he never hurt kids. He turned them into wood. One time he does jump scare the girl though, which is real weird. They were like, "There's nothing under the bed," and then she gets up, turns over in her bed, and there it is. And I'm like, that's a lot of effort. Also, those sheets are fucked.
Yeah, yeah. He never put the kids into. I mean, I guess turning children into wood is pretty dangerous.
I
But
mean, if
I do wish that they had have the courage to kill children.
Dear Disney,
So sorry. The ending when the trolls there's the main kid, he finally gets turned into wood, and or they're like wood statues, and he like steps on him. I just thought it would have been so funny if like all the kids are coming out of the tree fine, and then he turns to the kid. He's like, "My back."
Yeah. Well, Eartha Kitt threw a bunch of kids or wooden statues into the tree as they killed all the trolls.
Yeah.
that's why it would have been better if she was painted. She painted herself as a villain, or the movie painted her as a villain rather.
That could have been executed a little better.
Yeah, because it's almost a non-point.
Right, because also that implies that they had to be in a tree to be saved, but then the dog is in a car, as would, and the dog gets revived as well.
Yeah, yeah, it does make. There's
So
very little logic.
They didn't need to do it.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's just under the tree enough. Like there's a radius.
Maybe you're in the tree's vicinity.
Yeah, like a leaf could fall in.
Yeah. Also, it's like a small hole in the tree, so you would think that once they all became human again, they would have been smashed together.
Have courage to crush children in trees. Oh, I did want to say, he dressed up his dog a few times, and the logistics of that kind of fucked me up because I'm like, shit. The dog has a little hat that stays on, like, and his quick changes too. His quick changes are very funny to me. I love it. I love that the idea that he's quickly getting changed in front of children is horrifying. But I like to imagine that it's magic. He has magic improv abilities.
Another joke I really liked was when Ernest is driving in his truck and the troll is attacking from the top, stabbing something into it. The troll goes to his driver's side window, and Ernest backs up into the passenger seat, and the vehicle's still going, like perfectly. And
Yeah,
he's attacking him, and then eventually Ernest gets on to the top, and they insinuate that the dog is driving the car. But to me, it was funnier before that when he just like clearly nobody was driving, and Ernest is just like,
well, I was like, well, those dogs are smart. That dog's real name was Barkley, but in the show it was called Rimshot, which is very fun.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great dog name. Like if I have a dog, it's going to be called Rimshot now. I love that so much. I also love that the troll seemed to be really weak to having rope thrown at it. Like it flew out of the fucking truck because it had some rope thrown at it, but it looked like it was like hit with a cannonball, and I find that so funny. But because that was a device, they're like, we need to get this out so it can pull the car.
yeah.
That's all we need. So they're like, cool, easy. I'm gonna throw it at him, and he's gonna fly out like he got hit with a fucking cannonball.
Yeah, I really wonder where they came up because this, at least in the two Ernest films that I've seen, this and the Christmas one, where they decided we want this character that is from a commercial to be like the bumbling hero.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I don't know if that's the case in the other movies.
I think so.
Probably, yeah. But they also probably feel because this and the Christmas one, you could say are kids' movies, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine Ernest Goes to Jail was intended for children.
I think that it got bought. The property got bought by Disney, and they completely Disneyfied the concept because the Dr. Otto in the Riddle of the Gloom is a movie for adults, and Jim Varney plays the villain. I didn't get very far into it, so I don't know if Ernest is in that at all, but he does a very interesting job. I highly recommend that if maybe next year for Halloween. It's very funny. I love it.
That did make me think there's a lot of parts in this where he plays multiple people, but it's not done that great.
No.
It's like when Eddie Murphy does it, they feel like different people. And this is just costume change in the same voice.
Well,
it's different.
I think it's
slowed down.
Yeah, I think some elements of the voice. I loved his Nigel Thornberry character. I like that guy.
Yeah.
I like the
one that goes good shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the British-ish lady that he plays. That's very fun. I did like one line from one of the others where she said, hairspray fixes everything. I like that. But I liked most of that because like all of those characters were intelligent, and that's very funny to me that the main version of this guy is portrayed kind of dumb, and the other ones are so capable. Like, that's so funny to me. You hear that? Dissociative identity disorder? Hilarious to me. Put that on a shirt. I'll wear it.
Yeah, so with that, I do have a quick skit to run here. This is one of my favorite jokes. I have two of these, so some quick acting here.
Ooh.
I need you to play the kid there. Ready? So you start it.
Oh, I love this too. How about I just get my dad and meet you at the tree?
Yeah, your dad might get mad if we wrap this up all by ourselves. That to me is just funny. That's a good joke.
That part was so funny because he knew that the kid was in danger, and he's just like, all right, walk home.
Yeah, there's a few different parts of it that made me laugh, but certainly just him going, oh, your dad's gonna want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to.
His dad did not want to be a part of it. All the parents are assholes to their children. They're just mean, unnecessarily. I'm like, did 90s parents have any empathy? In my experience, not much. Like, yes, but no.
Let's save that later.
It went dark. It's just like, I think that in the 90s were an interesting time. Like, why I think this movie failed so hard. Like, it's not a good movie, but there's a lot of bad movies that are worse that people would watch. I think the 90s was on a trend to take itself a little too seriously, like, for a while. And the parents' attitude reflects that, too. Because that's how my mom was like, I'm serious. I'm being serious. No jokes, no fun about certain things. No silliness. And I'm not saying that this movie should have been a blockbuster, but I do think that if it was in a different time period, it would do better.
So I do think that, because I know that I believe the Christmas one came before this, and when I think back to that one, which again is the one I saw as a child, so maybe I'm looking at it with those rose-colored goggles. I do think that that's a better film overall, and I think it might just be because its beats are better. So I could see how maybe this one felt like a departure from that, or like wasn't up to what that one was. I could be completely wrong, but just again, like I do think that maybe had I seen this one as a kid, I would be looking at it with more fondness. But yeah,
I hear that. That makes sense. The sheriff is useless in the fight immediately. He pulls out his gun and immediately is disarmed. Like, nothing.
Yeah, I like when the adults finally see the troll, and they're like, oh my god, our children have been taken. And then, like, linger while Ernest goes to, like, save these children. They're like, the mayor, they're like, no, they're talking to the mayor, the troll's real, Fuck the mayor. Go save your children.
Yeah, but then they leave the rest of the children alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they discover that milk is the thing that kills them. And at one point someone says... at one point the troll says, because he gets powered up from the demons, he says, not even milk can stop me now. And I thought that would be a great tagline for Lactaid.
Yeah. That was good.
I would love that. That's so fun.
I did think the milk thing was fun. What my favorite bit when they're like attacking the trolls with the milk. One kid opens up a milk carton and like chucks it like a grenade.
I liked the powdered milk bit.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty good.
Yeah,
I like how immediately confident all the children were. That's very funny. I'm like, you could just die right now. He has pretty much all he needs.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I'm just finally getting to that age where, like, I just don't want to see children in movies. Or I don't relate to them. Like, I don't know, it's like, throughout my 20s, you still kind of relate to those younger characters. And you just eventually get to the point where you're like...
I agree with you, but the problem is that there's a lot of the things that are for adults, like most things that are for adults are crime procedurals.
Yeah.
And that's very boring to me.
Yeah, and I mean, really, that's not true. That's just more me making a joke
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like I watch Stranger Things and those kids are great.
Yeah. Well, it's also
Super 8 or
yeah. Those are much more rigorously written films and TV shows.
right, and probably those kids are better actors too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were stage kids. These kids might have been stage kids. Actually, the main kid was kind of a stage kid, but his sister was the actual stage kid. I was looking, so I'm like, this kid looks familiar, but it just turns out he looks like most children. He's like, oh yeah, that's a generic kid.
Yeah.
That's what generic children look like. He did look fucking tired though, the
Yeah,
whole film.
There's this weird like romance bit with it that just didn't really was not
Yeah,
necessary.
it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, and Ernest was like watching it, and I was like, no thanks.
Yeah, and they felt too young for that.
Yeah,
too.
very. I mean, maybe they're like, we're gonna die,
Yeah.
so like, I want to get this out at least.
Yeah.
We just get this one cheek kiss, and then
It's
I'm
just
good.
kind of like let's build a fort and also date each other.
The other one, the nerd, Simon from the Chipmunks, he's dead first. That's perfect because now I can move in.
Yeah. Again, have courage to kill children.
Speaking of murder, the death of the trolls, the aftermath was so gruesome. Like the effect, the original effect, I'm like, oh, they don't want to show it to be too gruesome, and then immediately they pan down, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's just like a whimsical, and then the thing.
and like, oh shit, this is Toxic Avengers all of a sudden.
Cut to John Carpenter's Ernest Scared.
I would love that. I would love it if a real horror director took Ernest and made a movie with that. That would be so good. That's actually one of the things I was going to talk about. I love the troll outfit, the main one specifically, so much. Especially that it has a ultimate version. If sports teams did that with their mascots, it might watch half times more. Like if there was a team called the Trolls and that was their mascot, I'm like, well, I'll go to that just to watch this halftime show. Yeah,
Certainly better than Troll 2.
Yeah,
Which is not that hard.
that's a low bar.
All right. This is another scene that I found really funny.
Give me my sides. Me, do I start?
Yeah, you start.
He needs 4 more souls before he can release his army and start to capture the children all over the world.
Just the kids.
Like, this movie is genuinely funny. There's
it certainly has its moments. That to me was hysterical.
There's a
where it's
lot
like,
of that.
Oh, just the kids.
Oh yeah, I liked. There's so much about this that you could talk about because it's a feature length movie. It's like I was thinking it was going to be a little bit shorter than it was.
I know, because I waited real late to watch it.
Oh, me too.
I was like,
It was like 10:50 for me. I was like, fuck. Okay, shit.
yeah. So I waited and I was like, this is a 60, 70 minute movie.
Yeah.
I'm like an hour and a half. God damn.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. I'll watch that again.
No, I enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to not enjoy whatever movie I'm watching.
Yeah.
There's certainly some there.
Oh yeah.
And there's one that we both do not like, but continue to go back to because of me, understandably. And we will go back to it for this podcast, this iteration. But
It's so long. It might not even be that long, but it's so long.
yeah, actually, it's probably it's a very short movie.
Yeah. But it feels so fucking long.
Right at that part though that we just read, afterward when he's building the troll trap.
Mm-hmm. I love the exposition from that.
She's the old lady told him that they need like a sacrifice of children, and when he's building the trap, the kids are like, "You wouldn't really sacrifice us, right, Ernest?" And he's like, "Well, let's save that for
A child sacrifice will be the last resort.
will be the last resort."
I mean, I'm kind of like, yeah, fair enough.
My note was, "Did not rule out child sacrifice."
That's right. Ernest isn't scared to kill people kill children. Disney is.
Yeah. Okay, and going back to the adults that took so long to save their kids, have the courage to save kids.
Yeah. Come on.
You gotta play both sides.
Absolutely. I agree with that, though. I'm like, if you care about these children, I don't know why you would. But if you do, live your truth, motherfucker. Oh, yeah. So after the kids turn back and Eartha Kitt has all these now former slave children, they've got for their freedom real fast all of a sudden. I mean, for them, from their POV. And they immediately recognize Eartha Kitt as one of their siblings, so I guess she's super fucking old.
Right, but why would they recognize her?
Right. I mean, I guess maybe she looks like their grandma or something, but I don't know.
I think immediately they were like, sister?
Yeah, Sister Frances. That's a wild thing, but I'm glad that they got their emancipation immediately. That's pretty good. Now they're going to be raised by their sister, which is going to be weird.
Yeah.
Who's an old, mean lady.
One thing with the troll I thought was odd, but kind of cool, was it using the children's voices to like
it didn't
lure
use enough.
The others in. Mm-hmm. It didn't use it enough, but also it was like genuinely creepy. Mm-hmm. It was like a weird like real horror element in this film. All of a sudden, like out of nowhere.
This film probably could be recut and like shortened to 45 minutes and make it feel like a real horror movie.
The troll should have abducted children a lot easier.
Oh yeah.
You only needed 4 kids.
Right.
Like there's kids everywhere. Like why it took way too long to gather these children.
Oh yeah. Like you could have done that in like one night.
Yeah.
A couple hours.
The last joke that I really enjoyed from this was Ernest he has like an award, like I think it's like a golf award,
a bowling award,
a bowling trophy,
yeah.
And he's giving like an Oscar speech, and he's like, I want to thank him, you, like he's going down the aisles, and then it cuts to, which they did this twice, where it cuts to him as a student writing on the board.
That's right. That's a hilarious. He never knows how to quit.
Yeah. Never knows when to quit.
And they did that twice, which is so funny.
Yeah, how he perceives himself is part of the humor of his character, because there's that, because that starts with him going, my teacher used to tell me I never know when to quit.
Yeah, and he's proud of it.
And he's being forced to write on a chalkboard, I never know when to quit. And then that was a really good joke, and a really good cutback to the joke. The other one was when he calls himself, he's the Great Redneck Hope.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
I'm the Great Redneck Hope. I love when Ernest is smug. It's very funny to me. I did it. You cannot beat Ernest P. Worrell. It's very good.
The other, the ending of the film, I did find disappointing. When they decide that in order to defeat the troll, he needs to be kind to it, which I'm alright with that, but like that translated to him basically like lifting the troll and like dancing with it.
Yeah.
It's just a little dumb to me.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not unconditional love. That's all I thought. I'm like, I think that I don't know how they could have done that concept better. I would have just found a different concept.
Yeah.
Or whatever. There's a million ways they could have killed it, but that's what they chose. It kind of fell flat on that.
Yeah.
All the tension was immediately released, and I mean that's fine. Ultimately, I think that is the weakest part of the film for sure.
You already kind of said that you would recommend watching this movie.
I think it's a pretty fun horror movie for kids, a horror comedy. Like I think it fits with Halloween Town. I think it's better executed in a lot of ways than Halloween Town. I think that there's a lot of better moments in this than Halloween Town. I love Halloween Town. Halloween Town's not good though. It is not a good movie.
I'm not the only one in this room that would fight you here.
I love Halloween Town. I just don't think it is as...
That's all the time we have.
I don't think it's as entertaining as Ernest Scared Stupid. It's probably safer for children. But I don't care if kids get scared. I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, I guess for me, Halloween Town I would consider more of a kids movie than this.
I think I think it's a very good '90s. This is a much more '90s kids movie. Like they're not afraid to do shit that would not be allowed today in Disney horror movies specifically.
I unfortunately probably wouldn't recommend this, but it did make me go, okay, I enjoy this character a lot, and so I probably will go watch the other movies and particularly revisit the Christmas one. Again, just from my memories of it, primarily watching it as a child, but I've certainly seen it maybe once or twice as an adult. I remember liking it a lot, so
You
I
hear
probably
that? For Christmas, Ernest Saves Christmas. On the docket, confirmed. But that is Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah, I still enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Yeah.
the film choice. But thank you for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. But,
Tell your friends. Repost this. Put it all over Facebook. Send it to your parents. They'll be confused with what it is. Please. That's what we want. We want your parents confused, but we want them to at least click the link. That's all.
Thanks for confusing your parents.
Get. Bye-bye.